Hey guys, Anthony Peluso here, founder and CEO of Wealth for Life. Hi guys, Anthony Peluso here, CEO and founder of Wealth for Life. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us again on this Wednesday night for this webinar. I'll say it again, guys, we live in very, very interesting times. I hope you're all safe and well wherever you are, wherever you're tuning in from. And, we want to bring you a lot of information each week because it is a changing landscape, okay? If you're a homeowner, if you're an investor, you need to know what's going on. And you need to know what the banks are doing, okay? Wealth for Life is the leader in financial services, real estate investment solutions in Australia. How can you get to us? 1300 793 877 or wealthforlife.com.au. Okay, so a little bit about tonight's event. Don't go out and make any financial decisions or come to any conclusions based on the information we're going to share with you tonight. Make sure more than ever right now you're sitting down with a licensed advisor that can take you through what is right for you, okay? It's certainly not it never has been, and it's certainly not a case right now in terms of one size fits all. A little bit about myself. I've been investing in real estate now, or creating wealth for the best part of 20 years. Got an incredible business here in the beautiful tree-lined streets of South Melbourne here in what was today sunny Victoria. We've been helping clients now for a long, long time to create wealth, helping them create financial freedom. And along the lines of replacing their income, okay? Freedom has a different meaning for each person. But for what most people are looking to do is flip that working income over to portfolio or passive income. And we do that really, really well through tailored solutions that suit each person or each unit individually. So I've been doing this for quite some time. I've developed, renovated, invested, project managed, marketed, property managed, close to 15,000 properties, over $1.3 billion worth of real estate, predominantly up the eastern seaboard of Melbourne, Sydney, and obviously Queensland. We have clients all over Australia, some even overseas. And we run a number of businesses here out of the Wealth for Life offices. We've got a property advisory firm, mortgage solutions, media company, and we have all the plugins that go into place when it comes to creating wealth all under the one roof. Okay, that's a little bit about myself. This is me and my beautiful family here. I always put this picture up as more so as a reminder to myself of why I do this, okay? And for a lot of you guys out there that have got families, have a look at what we're doing right now in this current environment, and have a look at the example that you're setting for your family. Because if you've got kids, guys, I'll tell you one thing. They're watching, okay? So have a look at the moves you make right now, and have a look at how you're reacting to the current environment. It's really, really important. And keep in mind, and we're going to cover this tonight, but keep in mind that what we're going through right now, as challenging as it may be, I keep saying this, that we as a society are going to get through this, okay? And if you're paying attention to the news, which I've got to admit, how can you not at the moment? We seem to be, I think we seem to be over the worst of it. I've been reading my news feed like most people, and you're starting to get other bits of news that have come up as opposed to, the virus and everything that goes with it right now. So I think as a country, we're bounding together right now and working through this as best we can. I hope all of you guys are practicing social distancing and are being responsible to your fellow friends and your loved ones out there. But guys, again, just keep in mind that we will get through this, and please don't go having the view that this is the world's going to end right now. If you have a look at the way the markets have reacted, what our government has done, what the banks have done, what the ATO has done, have a look at what your employer has done. Okay, I personally believe that we're through the worst of it, and we're getting back to some level of normality, if there is such a word, albeit in a very slow way. All right. So tonight's event is really based around what the banks are doing. Listen, finance has always been the name of the game if you're creating wealth, okay? For those of you that have worked with me, you know that there's a lot more that goes into this than just real estate investing, okay? Property is just a tool to attract finance, okay? The name of the game here is finance. The one area you need to master or you need to control really well is money and finance, okay? Now, banks in the best of times have been unpredictable. Right, it's probably the choice word there, but more so in this current environment. Okay, if you've got a home loan right now, even if you're not looking to do anything, you need to know what the banks are doing because you're probably going to get a phone call from them. Okay, if you're looking to refinance, if you're looking to invest in real estate or buy your own home, you definitely need to know what banks are doing right now. And here's the great thing, guys. It's not all bad news, okay? You need to get educated and you need to know what's going on. So I'm going to introduce to you my good friend and in-house mortgage broker here, Travis McLaughlin from Wealth for Life Mortgage Solutions, who I had the pleasure of interviewing, I think, earlier today. And Travis and I are going to sit down and share with you what the banks are doing right now in this current environment. And then I'm going to sum it up at the end of this interview. So I hope you guys enjoy this. How's the last few weeks been?
It's been a tough market, but it's not been a tough market in the sense that people aren't lending money. It's just been a tough market in the sense that there's so much extra work that needs to be done, and banks are just taking their time, scrutinizing everything. It's been tough making sure that everything's correct the first time before we send it through.
Yeah. And, I work, almost hand in hand with you and it's not just, yourself here, but the whole industry right now. Yeah. It's like I've always said, no one has gone unaffected here. But what's the message? What's the message that the banks are putting out into the marketplace right now?
Look, the banks are open for business. That's the message they're sending loud and clear, is that they are very much still open for business. But at the same time, there's the compassionate side to the banks, that the banks are there to help you if you need it. So from an open for business perspective, I think the banks are trying to make clear that this is not a credit crunch, this is an income crunch.
Yep.
So what that means is that, we're just doing a lot more verification of income that you're earning. What industries are you working in? Or have your hours been cut?
Yep.
Things like that. So there's a lot more detail that's going into that type of thing. From a compassionate perspective, all of the government stimulus packages that you hear about, you can phone your bank up and you can get a reduced interest rate. You can get deferral of payments. You can pause those payments. Most of the lenders are happy to work with you to try and, suit your position.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the one thing to remember with banks, because sometimes we see them as the unnecessary evil, right? But they play the biggest part in the investment game. They play the biggest part when it comes to buying your own home. And people forget that. They are your partner. If you look at it, it's like you take any business, right? They're putting up 80% of the cost, right, of the collateral into the business, into the partnership. They need to be, you need to work with them, okay?
Absolutely.
They play an important part. And I found them to not, even prior to the existing, economic climate we're in, I found them to be very reasonable, very understanding. The key thing and the message I keep pushing out to everybody is communication. You've got to communicate with your suppliers, with your vendors, with your banks, with the people that you're doing business with. But it's certainly an income crunch as opposed to a credit crunch. But tell me, what are some of the industries right now that banks are keeping their eye on?
So your industries where there's a lot of employees that have been stood down. So typically your tourism industries, your hospitality industries, retail industries. and other industries like that are, there's a couple of lenders that have specifically named those industries out in what they call temporary policy. And other banks are just rather having a little bit of a look at it as opposed to, naming it out in policy per se.
Yeah.
But they really want to make sure that you're still earning what you are earning, and make sure that that's not something that's going to be cut in the near future. So more to that, it's also, you might get an approval, but then the banks are going to have a look before settlement if you actually are still earning that money, and if things have been cut again.
Sure. So what's the message that you give out to some of these industries that are doing it a little bit tougher right now? What would you say to the people in those industries?
Hang tight. Things are going to change. Things are going to get better. The banks are there to help you. If you've got a current mortgage, get on the phone to your lenders, whoever that is at the moment. Make sure you're getting rock bottom rates. The banks are there to help you do that. If you've lost your job and you've got job seeker payments, the banks are helping you helping you along with that.
Yep.
They're allowing you to defer your payments for up to 6 months. Some lenders are working on a 3 month plus 3 month basis. So in other words, they check in on 3 months to see if you're still without work.
Yep.
Others are just giving you 6 months straight up front. So it varies from lender to lender. For me to say to you that this is the cast in stone policy is a bit difficult. But certainly, if you're doing it tough at the moment, the first thing you should be doing is getting on the phone to your lender and getting that support from them, because it's just going to make your life easier going in for the long run. Bear in mind, though, as we discussed a little bit earlier, it's really only a break the glass in case of emergency situation. Because you do need to bear in mind that whilst you get deferral on payments or paused payments, that interest is going to be capitalized back onto your loan. Yeah. So it's not free. You will have to pay it in the end, but you're just going to have to pay it at a later stage.
Sure.
So keep that in mind when you are doing that, because you don't want that to come back and bite you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a very important message out there, because there has been some confusion. People are thinking, hey, the bank's just going to come in and be the savior here and halt my repayments for 6 months. Well, no, they're not. They're just putting they're putting them on a freeze, but you're going to have to not only pick up the repayments 6 months' time, but the loan will be bigger because of the interest that's capitalised. So very important message. What about the delays that you're finding with banks right now? Because there's two schools of thought here. Like, interest rates are at an all-time low.
Yeah.
They haven't been this low for 69 years, okay?
Yeah.
So I certainly agree with you that banks are open for business. Just, if you have a look at the headlines in the marketplace and they're leading with interest rates as the headline, that tells you they're open for business. And the Reserve Bank of Australia has kicked in, I think, with a $90 billion package for the banks to ensure that they've got plenty of credit to help out. But they are experiencing some massive delays. Tell me a little bit more about that, Travis.
Absolutely. I mean, look, anytime you lower interest rates to where we are at the moment, you're going to get a rush on mortgages. So what we're looking at the moment is we're looking at extremely high volumes of new mortgage applications going through the system. I think it was AFG and Connective announced the other day that they've had one of their record months for a number of applications through.
AFG and Connective being, you want to explain who they are?
Sorry, aggregators that allow brokers to deal with the market.
Yeah.
So when brokers put deals through to the banks, they put them through their aggregator, and those as a complete aggregation, as a whole, through the broker market, we're seeing some record numbers going through to the lenders. So what that does is it just fills the funnel up from the top, and the banks only have so many employees. And apart from only having so many employees, we're also dealing with COVID at the moment, which means that a lot of these employees are working from home or working from remote sites. Yep. So like everybody in the industry, we're learning how to do this, and we're learning how to get better at it. And the banks are getting better at it. Some banks are a lot better at it than other banks. Some banks have been doing it for a long time already. So they'll naturally survive better or thrive better in this current market.
Yeah.
But it's certainly, it's the number of volume and applications that are going through the market at the moment is extremely high. So from that perspective alone, there's delays in the system.
Yeah, and obviously that's I'm hearing of up to 2 hour, 3 hour wait times when you're on the phone to the bank. Tell me, would you recommend that a purchaser or somebody that's looking to get finance or refinance go directly to the bank or use a mortgage broker?
Look, using a mortgage broker gives you a better lay of the field. So you're going to get more options in the market. If you go direct to a bank, the only thing that a bank can offer you is their products. Whereas if you go to a mortgage broker, you may be able to get a rate that's slightly different because of a particular industry you might work in, or there's something within your financial situation that is unique. And there are certain lenders that handle those types of unique situations with financial needs. So going to a broker definitely is an advantage in terms of shopping the market, because you're able to go for your own personal circumstances, what's going to be the most suitable loan for you in your personal circumstances. So definitely a broker from that perspective, absolutely.
Yeah, excellent. And the one question we get asked all the time is interest rates, right? It's the first thing people think of when talking to a bank, right?
Yeah.
Tell me what you're seeing at the moment in the marketplace, Travis, with regards to interest rates, but more importantly, what else comes with those interest rates? Because we all know that nothing's for free.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I'm seeing in the market at the moment is that a lot of the banks are offering great rates. I mean, as you said earlier, the best rates in the market that we've seen for probably in our lifetimes. Yeah. But that comes at a cost in terms of they're wanting you to fix your rates. And they're wanting most of the good rates in the market at the moment are being fixed between 2 and 3 years. Which is also not a bad thing given the low level of the rates that we're seeing at the moment. So to fix your loan for 2 to 3 years, it's just rather understanding that and making sure that you're completely aware of how a fixed loan actually operates.
And what the implications
are, a little bit down the line. So for instance, next year, if you want to go and refinance and draw some equity out, you're going to have to pay some break cost fees on that. And if you don't plan ahead for that, it can be costly, but in 90% of the population, if you're just having an owner-occupied home, there's nothing wrong with fixing that, especially for 2 years and having that certainty, particularly in the times at the moment.
Yeah, and obviously there's a difference between people, getting interest rates on their own home,
yes,
and paying principal and interest versus investors with interest only. Do you want to talk about that, Travis?
Yeah, absolutely. So, naturally in the market, the cheapest rates in the market are owner-occupied rates. I think the cheapest rate in the market that I saw on the system this morning was 2.09%. Still waiting for that elusive bank. Who's going to be the first mover to get to 1.99? I don't know, but we'll see along the line. That's the cheapest rate that I've seen in the market at the moment, and that's fixed for 2 years, 2.09%. And you've got to understand that that's for your home that you live in. That's not for investment properties, things like that. So it's for the home that you live in, and generally in a loan-to-value ratio that is at 80%, meaning that the amount of lending that you have on the home is less than 80% of the value of the home.
Yep.
And then when you go into investment rates, you start looking a little bit higher, depending on your industry. As I said, we've got some lenders that are very industry specific that are offering some great rates out there. They're offering around 2.44 interest only, all the way up to other lenders who, just generally open. They're looking at around about the high 2s, early 3s for interest only rates there.
Yeah. Listen, I think, guys, that the message, this is me now to the audience, that the message out there is really this. A lot of people are seeing this as a crisis, and they're contracting, and they're waiting, and they're waiting, and they're waiting. Some of them don't have a choice because of their industry, right? And who unfortunately may have been made, may have lost their job or been made redundant and don't have a choice. But my message to the people that are in a good position, and by good position I mean that you're in an industry where your job is safe, right? And you've got to talk to your employer about that. You've got to have that conversation. It all comes back to communication. But the message I'm giving to my clients right now is if you're in a position where your job is safe and your income is protected and you can borrow money, go out there and invest, because take advantage of having very little competition that you're up against. I mean, we are putting together some incredible deals for our clients. They are taking the benefit out of it. And I won't get into figures and numbers right now, but you wouldn't get these deals outside of this current environment. So you've got people right now that, the smart investors. I've said it all along, and I was around in 2008 when we had the global financial crisis, and I've studied the markets when we've had turmoil and tragedy in the markets at the time. And the one thing that's always been the case, and the theme is that, people will make a fortune in this current environment. The smart investors have actually planned for this a long time ago. And, we've got a lot of sophisticated high net worth clients on our database that are making a killing right now because they're in a position where they can take action. They've got their buffers in place, their incomes are protected, they're in good industries, and they're going out there and they're cleaning up.
Yeah.
And that's the message I'm putting out to clients right now. Because at the end of the day, this is going to pass. For those there's people out there that think the world's going to end. It ain't going to happen. If you have a look from a global perspective right now, you've got parts of the world that are opening up their economy again in the coming weeks. And I'm not just talking about the USA, right? So I'm starting to see less. Like, it's funny, I read my news feed, and for once, I've started to see other news.
Yes.
Other than the virus, right? I've started to see other things on my news feed. But, what I'm putting out there to clients is that don't just think it's all doom and gloom.
Yeah.
This is the opportunity to make up for what you haven't done in the past.
Yes.
This is the opportunity to take advantage of what's presented in front of you, because I'll tell you one thing's for certain. People are going to become millionaires out of this in 2020, right, based on the decisions they make today. Because this is a thing you find, Travis. You'll know, like, what you're doing in 2020, what you're doing today will dictate where you'll be in 10 years' time.
Sure.
Okay? And unfortunately, in most parts of the world, we have this sheep herd mentality, right? I'm going to wait for somebody else to do it first and then I'll do it. You're never going to make any money. People with that mindset never make any money. Because they're always way behind the eight ball. Okay? They're always behind. They work out the market's taken off 12 months after the market took off. Right? They work out the market's plateaued 12 months after the market plateaued, right?
Yep.
So the message I'm putting out there is, if you're in a position to do so, take action. So with regards to lending, you said that it's about income, right?
Yeah.
Versus credit. So banks are certainly lending. Tell me about when it comes to income. I'm hearing things like, banks are actually, even after you've settled on the loan, they're giving you a call to just check that everything's okay with your job, with your industry, and they're even asking questions along the lines of, have you had a conversation with your employer? Is your job safe?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that you're seeing that with a lot of the lenders?
A lot more of that, yeah. So it's around that verification of the income. So the banks are, last year we had that whole Royal Commission into the home loan or mortgage industry, and part of that came out the responsible lending.
Yep.
And part of that responsible lending is making sure that you're able to, fulfill your commitments to the loan that you're taking out. And the banks are seeing that as part of that responsible lending practice. Yep. So, and then obviously us as brokers as well, we have to make those inquiries and help the banks with that. So, when it comes to getting new loans, the new loans are there. They're there to be had. We can get you the best interest rates you've probably ever had before in your life.
Yep.
But we're going to ask more questions.
Yep.
We're going to need more details from you. So from that perspective, you can just bear with us and let us ask those extra questions.
Yep.
Understand that the banks are going to phone your HR departments and check up on your employment. Make sure that your hours haven't been cut. And then even when they've done that, they're still going to phone again and they're going to ask again.
Yep.
If you can bite the bullet on that, you're sitting in the pound seat.
Well, mate, it's it's one of the reasons why we didn't suffer as great back in 2008 with the global financial crisis, because our banks, I think their lending criteria is incredible. Now, here I am sitting here saying that when, I know what we have to go through. But, I've always said it, like, you don't want an environment again where everybody and anybody can get a loan.
Yep.
Right? I want strict lending conditions, because then I know my clients are safe.
Yeah.
And if you get a loan in this current environment, you deserve it. You've had to tick more boxes than ever before.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our banking industry and lending industry is probably one of the most stable in the world.
Yep.
Backed by a government who've been very shrewd in terms of, what they're putting there, what regulation they're putting into place and how they're controlling it. And not controlling it, but guiding it. And I think that's put us in a really good position where we've got a very, very stable banking industry and lending industry.
Yeah.
And that's why we're still open for business.
Yep. And let's not forget that the banks and the government incentives there, obviously, because of the current situation, are there to help us as landlords, as investors, as homeowners. But it really is, the employment industry, okay? It really is about making sure that all of our industries, or as many of our industries as possible, are able to continue to expand and employ staff. I, for one, look at what we're doing in our business, Travis, right?
Absolutely.
We're expanding, we're hiring, and it is all about making sure that the small, medium enterprise end of the market are continuing to flourish and prosper. And this is the thing that a lot of people don't understand about interest rates. They're not there for investors, okay? They never have been. I don't think they ever will be. It's not a bad thing. You just got to understand the rules.
Yep.
But they are there to ensure that businesses continue to expand, continue to grow, and borrow money to expand and grow, so they can hire more staff and keep the unemployment rate relatively low. What are you seeing? I know we deal with all types, but tell me the differences right now, Travis, with regards to your PAYG employee, but for the self-employed out there, right? For the sole traders, for the contractors, tell me about the current landscape, and if there's any difference to those guys right now.
Yeah, I think they're coming under a lot more scrutiny than your average PAYG. I think one of the lenders said the other day, the golden goose is the PAYG employer who hasn't been cut hours yet. Yeah. They like the vanilla deal at the moment, if you will. So if you are just a normal PAYG employee and you've got a great salary and your job hasn't been affected, you're sitting in the prime seat in terms of lending at the moment.
Yeah.
From sole traders and self-employed perspective, I think the key is going to be around showing that you're still open for business, you're still doing the same amount of business, and you might have contracts in place that show that you're still going to have that income coming in the future.
Yep.
So it's not just really around showing what you've earned in the past anymore, but it's how have you future-proofed yourself.
Got it, yeah.
So take this crisis and learn from it and see how you can future-proof yourself, because it's only going to put you in good stead moving forward.
Yeah.
And when we have those conversations with clients, I'm going to have to ask them, so what are you doing to make sure that you're going to generate revenue in the future?
Yeah, excellent. All right, Travis, listen, thank you so much for your time today, mate. I think it's really important that we get this information out to people right now, because they've got questions.
Yeah.
And on a last note, is there anything else you'd like to add? And what's your advice right now for people that, we spoke about ones that can't do anything, unfortunately, right now, but what's your advice as a mortgage broker to people right now that are looking, either have loans in place right now or that are looking to take up loans? What would be your advice?
I think my advice for everybody at the moment is quite simply, take a good, hard look at your finances. Right now is the opportunity in the market to be able to take advantage of things like this. So sit down, have a look at it in depth, make sure you understand where you are, where you could be, and have a chat with your mortgage broker, have a chat with your private banker, whoever that might be.
Yeah.
And make sure that you're in the best possible position moving forward. So are you able to take advantage of investments in the market right now? Well, if you haven't sorted out your finances, you might not be in that position to be able to take advantage of a property that'll come on the market. So sort that out now so that you're in that position to be able to take advantage. If you're in a position where you have been affected by the virus, again, slow down. You've got the time at the moment. Phone your lender. Understand what they can do to help you out. This is such a good time for everybody to understand exactly where their financial situation stands. And that's probably the key advice that I can give to everybody is understand your financial situation and understand it well. Don't just understand that I've got 1 or 2 investment loans. Understand I've got 1 or 2 investment loans that have got X amount of dollars outstanding at X interest rate. I need to know that down to the final dollar. That's the advice I need to give to everybody.
Thank you, Travis. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. It's such a hot topic right now, finance and lending, because most of us have got loans. My final message would be what I said at the start: just simply communicate. Yep. I've always been a believer. Communicate can solve any problem, can handle any situation. It's the one thing we don't do enough of or correctly. Simple as that may sound, communicate. So for those of you guys out there right now that have got a home loan or looking to get a loan, come and talk to us. Come and talk to us. If you've got a relationship with your bank, obviously talk to them. But if you want some sound advice or some objective advice with regards to your current situation, give us a phone call. Like, we can set up a Zoom appointment with you guys. We can't give you a coffee, unfortunately, but have a chat to us. Have a look at how you can take advantage of your current situation, or have a look at how you can take advantage of what's coming up ahead. Or if you need to consolidate and clean up your affairs right now, again, it's a perfect opportunity. I think the message is, though, there are going to be some delays.
Yeah.
But banks are working with us, working with you, not against you. That's the key thing to remember.
Yes.
Thanks again, Travis.
No problem. Thanks very much for having me.
And there you go, guys. That's our interview with Travis McLaughlin from Wealth for Life Mortgage Solutions. Feel free to come in and have a chat to Travis, or give him a call and we can have a Zoom conversation with you, as is the case right now. But the clear message coming out of that is to really stay in communication with us, if you're working with us, with your broker, or directly with your bank. You've probably got a better chance of getting through to us, by the way, than you have with banks. The delay right now is kind of ridiculous. But getting really good communication, because they are there to help you. I know we paint banks as the big bad enemy, but that is not the case, And this is the one. Well, there's many positive things that have come out of this economic climate that we're in right now, let's say. And I love the way that Australians have all, kind of like bound together to all support each other across, government, across the government sector, corporate sector, different industries. The support of humans has been quite phenomenal. So the one thing you don't want to do is bury your head in the sand and not confront this. Have a chat to your bank about your existing situation. They'll probably give you a call anyway to check up on you, but have a chat to them and get into communication. All right, median house prices. For all the doomsayers out there that still think the property market's going to crash, and I still hear these amazing stories of how the resilient Australian property market is going to crash by 40, 50, 60%. I say to those people, you know what? If that's your viewpoint, you clearly don't understand economics and the way our country is structured. Okay, I won't get into specifics right now, but the point I'm going to make right now is that over the last 60 years, we've been through many different crises. Crises, is that such a word? We've been through multiple challenges. If you have a look at that graph, going back as far as I think 1982 there, when I was just a little boy, and I lived through most of this as a kid, and the great stock market crash of 87, the recession we had to have, for those of you that can remember, back in 91, and record high interest rates. When they introduced capital gains tax, they said the market would crash, and we had multiple industries go out of business, airline industries stop. Then we had the Y2K doom and gloom, where, I used to hear, things like airplanes are going to fall out of the sky and clocks are going to stop and computers are going to crash. Listen, guys, the one thing I'll tell you is this. As Australians, as a society, we need a roof over our head, okay? This is the one reason why real estate has always been resilient, okay? Now, I'm certainly not going to tell you that the real estate market continues to go in a north positive direction, because that's not true. But if you have a look at that graph, the simplest way to put it is that the market has gone backwards 4 times over the last 60 years. That's once every 15 years. Now, I don't know if you're going to find another asset class that gives you that kind of result other than the real estate market. So the message coming out of this, guys, is, again, we've been through this before. We're going through it now. And I promise you, we will go through this again. The question is, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to plan for it? Okay? And the great thing about what I love doing with our clients is that when we invest and when we build a wealth strategy for our clients, we actually take this information into account, okay? So because your investment strategy should always be based on a worst case scenario. Everybody can make money when things are good, okay? But how good your assets are for you guys out there that have got real estate right now. You know how good your assets are based on the way they're performing right now. Okay? Because if you've chosen the right real estate, guess what? Your tenant will stay. They'll continue to pay rent. Okay? If you've done this really well, you would have only invested in areas where people's jobs are actually secure. Okay? So, there's a lot that goes into building an investment strategy, okay? And we build investment strategies 4 times like this, okay? And you know what? When times are good, it's New Year's Eve every day, right? But you've got to look at your worst case scenario, okay? Because if you can make money and continue to hold on to your assets and make money during the bad times, then, you're going to do quite well during the good times. All right, moving on. So, guys, what are your options coming out of tonight, okay? So, you've seen a little bit about what the banks are doing right now, okay? You know a little bit about what we do here at Wealth for Life, okay? The one thing I will say, guys, is that contracting and doing nothing won't do anything for any of you, okay? So, you've got really 3 choices coming out of this webinar tonight. Number 1, don't do anything, okay? Now, simply put, guys, here's my philosophy for success, a real simple way. I look at what 95% of people do, and I just simply do the opposite. For those of you that don't want to get into too much detail, okay? One of the richest men in the world, Warren Buffett, a guy that I admire very, very much, and you got to understand he's one of the richest people in the world for a reason, has this amazing saying that I'm going to coin. He says, when people are being greedy, you should be fearful. And when people are being fearful, you should be greedy, okay? So my message out there to you guys, you've got some data tonight. You can go onto our website, give us a call, and get all the information and education that you want, because we love sharing information with you. You can do nothing, okay? Have your 2020, your 2019, your 2018 all be exactly the same. And probably your 2021, 2022, and so on will be exactly the same. You've got to ask yourself, guys, if you don't get your money to work for you, you will always have to work for money, okay? You need to flip that equation around, okay? You need to get your money to work for you so one day you don't have to work for money. And that's not saying that you need to stop working, okay? But you want some choices in life. You want some freedoms in life, okay? The thing about real estate, and this is the most misunderstood thing about real estate is this. As soon as you talk to somebody about investing in real estate, the first thing they think of, is it's expensive. It's risky. They start to automatically think of how it takes away from them. Right? So you've got it all wrong. Right? Real estate investing done properly gives to you. It actually doesn't take from you. It gives you more life. It gives you more choices. It gives you more experiences. It gets you to help your family. It gets you to help your loved ones. It gives you freedom. It puts your kids into a really good school. Right now, it would give you plenty of cushion and plenty of buffers to be able to get you through what we're going through right now. So if you look at investing in real estate as something that continually takes from you, you're probably getting the wrong advice or you're getting bad information. It's that simple. Okay, real estate investing done well should always give to you. It gives you more life. It gives you more of everything. All right. So keep that in mind. Second thing you can do, guys, you can do it yourself. Okay. Now, if you understand how to navigate, if you know how to navigate through the real estate world, please feel free to do it yourself. We've shared some information with you guys tonight. If you've kept in touch with us through our webinars and seminars, you'll get a lot of education. Okay. The reality is, guys, if you're working 9 to 5, you're not going to have the time to do this yourself. Okay. When I first started in real estate, actually a lot of people don't know this, I was doing network marketing as well. Plus I was doing a full-time gig as an employee at Telstra, great company that I still admire and love so much. And you know what, guys, I learned real quickly that to create wealth and do real estate investing properly, it is 24/7. Okay, it is 24/7 because the market does move quite a bit. And you know what? I don't want to be at the back of the line. I don't want to be at the back of the line. I want to be the one that knocks down the door and grabs all great opportunities, okay? And you can't do this gig. You can't invest part-time, after 6 o'clock at night and on weekends. You're just not going to achieve anything, okay? Because you know what, guys? It's actually hard enough doing it full-time and becoming an expert at it and doing really well in it. So if you don't have the time, you need to find somebody that does have the time and, more importantly, can take the guesswork out of creating a predictable result for you. The third option is that you can do it with Wealth for Life. Okay, we've got a track record of being able to get consistent, predictable results over a long period of time. And just take a look at what our clients have to say about us. But more importantly, check out their results. Because at the end of the day, this is a money game and it is all about results. Results for you, the client. All right? So a little bit about our service offerings here. I won't spend too much time. You can get a lot of this on our website. Education, the most important thing. The more knowledge you have, the more you can control the outcome, the more responsibility you can take, and the more you can be a cause as opposed to just taking what comes at you, okay? Financial planning, okay? Simply, guys, there's a start, there's an end, and there's everything in between. And done properly, there should be no guesswork, okay? I really want you guys to understand this, that a sound investment strategy will give you a predictable outcome. Definition of predictable, no guesswork. You know exactly where you are going to end up from where you start today. Yes, there's a lot of variables in place, but if you know what you're doing and if you're working with the right people, it's a pretty easy market to understand. Okay, the reality is a lot of people just get their information from the wrong place. Mortgage Solutions. Okay, you've heard from Travis. Guys, this guy is an incredible mortgage broker. Some of the rates, he's as close to getting interest rates under 2% than anyone I know. All right, so if you're chasing a great rate, have a chat to Travis. Property advisory. Okay, our core business here, you need to understand the difference between great real estate and good real estate. I'm going to share some case studies, fresh, brand new case studies with you over the next couple of weeks that are just going to blow your mind. Accounting and taxation. Hey, you got to make the money in one hand. You want to make sure you can hold on to it and not give it away in this hand, okay? Legal services. Okay, it's a lot more than just conveyance. You got to learn how to protect your assets and pass your assets on to your children. Building and construction, okay, there's a lot of benefits and you're creating a lot of jobs for that industry by building new homes, okay? And of course, property management. And if I'm lucky, I can get one of our best property managers going around right now to have a chat to us next week. We're working on that, but we'll stay tuned to us and we'll let you know whether we can pull that off next week. Okay, so just summarizing, guys. Number one, okay, the three biggest risks that Australians face, okay? Even so in today's economic climate. Number one income stream. Think about it right now, guys. What if you didn't have to rely on your working income? Okay, my heart goes out to all the ones that have, unfortunately lost their jobs during this time. You've got the job seeker program, and I hope that helps you guys. But ask yourself, what if you had multiple streams of income right now and didn't have to rely on your job? How good would life be right now? Number two, the widening gap between people's incomes, the cost of living, and real estate prices. Okay. Study the facts. Don't listen to opinions or what they say on the news. Study the facts. Study the numbers. Learn to get your data from the source, okay? Not just the first person that shoves it in front of you, right? And have a look at the widening gap between real estate prices and people's incomes, okay? That is the scariest thing, okay? And of course, money in the bank. Listen, a little bit of money right now is a good thing in the bank because it needs to be able to get you through to the other side. But that ain't going to cut it alone, okay? I'll say it now, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You cannot save your way to wealth, okay? For those of you out there right now that are just, closing down the shutters, pulling down the blinds, locking the doors, and just trying to save your way through this current state, you guys are in for a lot of heartache. I'll tell you right now, you will not see the worst of this, okay? People will get through this much, much better than what you will if all you're doing right now is trying to save. You still need to get your money to work for you in this current state. There's some incredible opportunities right now for those of you that are prepared to look. As Travis just said, interest rates are at an all-time low, okay? Yeah, you're going to have to go through a little bit to get a loan these days, but interest rates are at an all-time low. And, the smart investors are out there right now making a killing, picking up deals where most people are asleep watching Netflix, okay? Mate, that is reality right now. I can't wait to share some of the case studies and some of the buying opportunities that our clients have taken advantage of over the last few weeks. Absolutely incredible. So get your money to work for you guys, okay? Especially in this time, because we're going to get through this. But the question is, what condition are you going to be in as a home buyer, as an investor, as an Australian when this thing is said and done? All right? So, guys, that's it for tonight. I really hope you've got a lot out of this. Again, I love bringing this to you guys. It's not about me or my company. I love sharing this information with you. So many of you have contacted Wealth for Life and me personally to ask about the state of the market, what the banks are doing, what the governments are doing, what do I think the property market is going to do over the next 5, 6, even 12 months. Don't believe everything you hear out there. Understand how to get information from the source, from the top all the way down. Understand how employment, how the different industries that we operate in, the government, the banks, all play together, and you'll understand where our real estate market is going. Listen, I wish you guys a fantastic rest of the week. Please stay safe, practice your social distancing, and be responsible. I, for one, cannot wait to engage with you guys again, face-to-face, in the flesh. And I really want to see you guys do really, really well. And if there's anything that me personally or my company here at Wealth for Life can do, give us a call if you're in Australia, 1300 793877. The message, the clear message coming out to you guys is that you guys can do something about this. You can be better off and put yourself in a much better position when this is said and done. And I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. And tune in again next Wednesday night, same time, same bat channel, I believe. Thanks, guys.